Oh my god, it's so loud in here. So I'm in the Pilates studio right now. It's pretty noisy in here. I don't know, they're doing some work upstairs. The street outside is pretty busy, but we're gonna try to get through my video. Also, am I? Okay. I have to remember to look at the camera and not at myself. I'm gonna try. But anyways, hi, my name's Jasmine. If you don't know me, probably don't know me, or maybe you do if you've seen my TikToks. I'm definitely more active on TikTok, but I just figured I wanted to make a long form video for you guys regarding my Pilates journey, because a lot of people ask me questions regarding Pilates stuff. I feel like the Pilates content is what's resonated the most with people over there. So I'm gonna do a little Q&A because I get a ton of questions regarding my Pilates certification, what it's like to teach Pilates, all that jazz. So we're gonna get into that here. Brought my laptop. I took some notes so I can kind of hit all the talking points that I've seen. So I can hit all the talking points of the questions that people have asked me over there. So we're just gonna get started, and let's start with the how and why did I get certified. Long story short, I got certified, right after college. So I graduated college in 2018, didn't know what I wanted to do for work yet, so I was just working retail at the time, making just enough money to live like day to day. I'm still living with my parents at this time, but they're not giving me any money. I knew that I wanted to get into working out at the time. I knew specifically I wanted to do Pilates as well, just because I've heard about it here and there through the grapevine. Once I had enough money to actually pay for a membership, I found a studio here by me that I really liked. I actually discovered them through ClassPass, and then once I kind of figured out which studio I liked the best at the time, I just purchased a membership directly through that through that studio. The studio that I'm talking about is called Love for Pilates. So if you're LA based, maybe you've heard of it. They have a few locations here in the LA area. They used to have 3, I think they only have 2 now. So I was taking classes pretty much every day, whenever I could get it in before or after work. Like I would be that person who, if I worked at 8 a.m., I would come to the 6 a.m. class just so I could make it to work on time. Like that's how dedicated I was to getting in my Pilates class for the day. So that was my Pilates discovery story. So I very quickly fell in love with going to Pilates and just like the way it made me feel afterwards. So fast forward about like a year later, I see that the studio is offering Pilates certifications. So I inquired about it. Because I already liked going to class every day, I figured why not get certified. I can use the certification later on if I want to, but there was just something about Pilates that I wanted to know more about. More than just the obvious, like I go to class, I work out, I feel good. I was very interested in like the mechanics of Pilates and just what it was all about. I just enjoyed being in that studio so much that I was like, what's another couple extra hours a week? Like I would really love and enjoy that. And then, hey, maybe I turn it into a career, maybe I don't. But we'll get into that. Okay, next I want to talk about the certification program itself. So I'm going to be looking at my computer just because there's a lot of information that I wanted to get through about the certification program. So I took a few screenshots actually from the exact email that was sent when I first applied to be in the certification program. But let me give a quick rundown. So overall, the certification program, it was a 450-hour program, and this included learning mat, the reformer, which is behind me, is what I'm sitting on right now, the chair, the 1D chair, and the Cadillac. So all of that, the very comprehensive program that we went through. So in that program, the learning portion of it all was pretty much, that totaled up to 150 hours of just the learning, and that was all divided between the mat, reformer, Cadillac, chair. Okay, so aside from the learning of it all, so learning the moves that are taught on all these apparatus, there was 100 hours of self-integration, 100 hours of practice teaching, and then 100 hours of just observation. So these 450 hours kind of tally up really quick. It sounds really intimidating, but because all those hours are in different aspects of the program, it kind of gets portioned off a little bit easier to get through. It doesn't feel like, when you hear that number, I feel like it sounds really big and intimidating, but once you get into it, it makes sense. And this program, should have mentioned this earlier, but this program started in September and it went through March. So what is that? October, November. 6 months? Is that right? Hold on. Yeah. So we started September 26th. The first week of class, we talked about the Pilates principles. And then from basically October 3rd through October 19th, we learned about mat. From October 24th through December 7th, we learned about reformer. And then from January 4th through January 23rd, we learned the Cadillac. And then lastly, from January 25th through February 22nd, we learned the Wunda chair. And then we had our review on the 22nd. So I guess the last day of chair, we also had our little review day. Our written exam was on February 27th, and then our practical exam was on March 2nd. So the practical exam is the exam where you speak out an exercise that your teacher, I guess, tells you to do. My brain is like burning right now. So for the class portion, for the learning portion of it all, we would meet twice a week, once on Thursday and then one time on Saturday each week. So twice a week, Thursday and Saturday, and we would meet for 4 hours. We had breaks here and there for the holidays, and then if you had to miss class, which I don't think any of us really did, but it was right before COVID, so some of us were getting kind of sick before we knew what COVID was. So if you did miss a class, you would just ask one of your classmates for some notes, or maybe you can even ask them to record it and send it to you. But there's so much information that you learn in one sitting for 4 hours. I'm sure you could imagine how much you can go through. So my cert class only had 4 people, including myself, not including the instructor who was teaching us all these things. So 4 students, 1 teacher. So it was really nice and intimate and small. This was the very first certification that studio was offering, so it was fairly new, but I wanted to get on it before, anyone else did. So that's that. One more thing that I forgot to mention was the pricing breakdown of the certification itself. So let me pull that up. Okay, the pricing breakdown of the certification itself. So the full program costs $4,900. No hidden fees, includes tests, textbooks, and practice hours. And what that means, practice hours, was having access to the studio outside of studio hours, so you can get your practice hours in. Pricing breakdown. So for the mat portion, it was $1,200. For the reformer portion, it was $1,700. For the Cadillac portion, it was $1,000, and then for the chair portion, another $1,000. And anatomy was sprinkled throughout the course. So along with learning the moves on the machines or the mat, tons and tons of anatomy lessons. So lots of muscle, bone. We learned about common injuries, how to work around those, things like that. it was a lot of learning that we did. Okay, next question. Can you make a living off of Pilates? I'm gonna say the answer is yes and no. Unlike your conventional 9 to 5 where you clock in, you sit at a desk, do whatever you gotta do, Pilates is different. So you are expending a totally different kind of energy. You are talking for hours on end. You're kind of working when you're not working. So thinking about the class plans, if you work at a studio that has like specific class types, like a glutes class, an abs class, an arms class, all that jazz. You are working on your feet. You are thinking about so many things that I don't think you could work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, for example. That's not how a Pilates schedule actually works, but 40 hours a week, there's no way. Personally, there is no way to work 40 hours a week in studio, talking for 40 hours back to back to back. Like, no, I wouldn't be able to do it. Maybe some people can do it. I've actually asked people what they feel like their weekly cap is before they feel burnt out, and everyone's answer is different. With all that being said though, I'm gonna compare what I was making in retail as an assistant manager versus what I make per hour teaching Pilates. I make $10 more an hour versus what I made working retail. But I used to work 40 hours a week, and now I was only working like 12 or 13 hours a week. So do with that information what you will. I am lucky enough because I live at home, so I'm not paying rent. I don't need to pay rent. But I knew that Pilates was something that I wanted to do, so this is kind of where I had to start with the beginning of my career, is kind of as many hours as I can get right now before I can hopefully take on like private clients or maybe start my own thing, like aside from working at a studio. But that's for like a later date. That's something I'm not even thinking about right now, just because I really enjoy teaching in a group setting. And again, I guess my situation was pretty favorable. I didn't feel burnt out teaching that many hours a week. I'm using past tense because I'm actually not working right now. So I'm sitting in a studio that is not yet open, but it's with the same people that I was working with previously. So what was the point that I was saying? So that's how I'm gonna answer that question. But that kind of led me into the other topic of my first job teaching and my experience with that. So again, I was working in retail, and the store that I was working at Madewell. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Madewell. And that store, specific location that I was working at, was closing. And funny enough, I actually helped open that specific location years before that. So I kind of saw that as like a full circle moment. I was like, okay, I opened the store, I'm closing the store. I'm gonna like end that chapter in my life of working retail and kind of see where life takes me next. I did not have a plan. I took that severance package and I left. I was like, I'm just gonna figure it out. Life happens, shit happens, but we gotta push through, figure it out. Then, fast forward a year after that, yep, because I was unemployed-ish for about a year, I was reached out to one of the ex-instructors from that Pilates studio that I got certified at. She opened her own little space. It was on the second floor of a gym, and she just needed some more instructors to work out of her studio. And she hit me up. Mind you, at this time, I hadn't taught Pilates yet. So I had my certification. I never taught Pilates because once I got certified in 2020 is when the world shut down. And hence why I was unemployed for a little bit, went back to working, and then the store closed. and it was just a whole whirlwind of events. So let's just end on this. I wanted to end on some tips I would give if you are looking to get certified in Pilates. Go around your city, take classes at as many Pilates studios as you can. You should find a studio that you really like, not only the way the studio looks, but the style of the teaching that the instructors are giving you. Because even though, you know, you would think every Pilates studio is going to be the same, it's really not. A lot of studios have their own little twists on how they teach, how they speak, the format of their classes, all that jazz. So if you're not like jiving with that straight off the bat, I would say it's not somewhere you'd want to get certified. So make sure you like the studio that you're going to. Make sure you've spoken with the instructors, the owner. If the owner is ever present in the studio, take classes with her or him. What else? And another tip I would give is, if you are already in a certification program, get to know every single instructor you're going to need to if you're going to be doing observation hours, just so you can ask them questions before and after class. It's very important to make connections with people in the Pilates space. You can reach out to people on Instagram, which I've done. As a teacher, I've messaged some instructors that I've seen on my Instagram Explore page. Just any questions you may have. Try to find at least one instructor that you really like and you feel comfortable around, and, you know, use them for any information that you may need during the duration of your certification program. And I think that covers all of it. I feel like I just rambled all over the place, and I don't even know if I answered everything that I wanted to answer, but that's it for now. I will hopefully get back with either one, more sit-down videos answering questions, or two, I kind of want to film some like free Pilates content to put on here, but we'll see when we can get to that. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Again, leave me any questions you have down here, or even on my Instagram DMs. Like, I will see your message if you leave it here, if you leave it on Instagram, TikTok, however you found me, is how you can reach me. So I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.